Yeah, I mean, Colorado really needs to do something about the 2C. I was skeptical about the Ryan Johansson thing coming in to the offseason. I really wanted them to go after Kevin Hayes. I think Kevin Hayes would have been a good fit. And Kevin Hayes has been having a good season for St. Louis. I think they gave up a sixth round pick for him, and Philly retained. And so, yes, Colorado got Johansson for basically nothing, but I would have liked to see Kevin Hayes. I didn't think Johansson would have fit because he fucking sucks at skating and he's lazy on the back check. And that has been the narrative this year. He's fucking lazy and he can't skate to make up for his laziness. And it just has not worked out. I think they need to move that guy. I still think that guy's a good NHL player, and he would be just fine at $4 million on another team that isn't so driven by skating. But the Avs are a track meet team that they are there to outskate you. He's put up 11 goals in 49 games, and he's, roughly half a point per game. So he's not been terrible. He just doesn't fit Colorado's system. So I don't think Colorado's going to, they don't really have much of a farm to sell. They
Hmm.
did that on their cup run. They have this year's first round pick. They have next year's first round pick. They don't have a second round pick until 2026. They'll probably trade that because Colorado is notoriously hates second round picks. They trade a lot of them. But they got a couple good prospects. If they had the right fit and could find the right center, maybe somebody with a little bit of a term, or they could get somebody to retain with some term if they had a larger contract. I think they could make that work. They got some good players. They got Oscar Olausen, hasn't really panned out for them yet, but he's still really young and he's got an NHL level shot already. And Callan Ritchie, they drafted him last year. Uh he was kind of a mixed draft pick at the time because he played the entire season with like a shoulder injury that was
Hmm.
supposed to get surgery. He got that surgery on the offseason and he started this season late and he's been on an absolute tear. He got named today the OHL Player of the Month. And
Nice.
funnily enough, the night McKinnon put up 5 points, he did too. So, that's a guy that is highly intelligent, but isn't also known like for his skating. So he doesn't really fit Colorado's current identity so well.
Hmm.
And he's years down the road. Colorado's window is open now. So trading somebody like him might hurt, but that would be a good thing to do. They also have Guliev, who is fashions himself a Kale McCarr type, who is also like labeled one of the steals of last year's draft that I think they could trade. I think that would hurt more than Richie because you look at Colorado and you just like, oh yeah, of course they get another one of those guys. They got one of the deepest D's in the league, I think, still. And then they go out and draft this guy. They can probably afford to trade him. And they have a couple other pieces, but those are kind of like the big trading pieces they have to go to. I think there's been a lot of talk surrounding their decor. Bullet Byram has kind of been
Hmm.
on and off again, and a lot of people have talked about trading Sam Gerard because they have a wealth on the deed. Like their top six is Kale McCarr, Devontae's, who are two of the top 10 NHL defensemen in the entire league.
Hmm.
They got Josh Manson, who's fitting in just fine as a number four D man. He's doing a good job there. And they have Gerard and Byram switching places. And on their back end, they are rocking Jack Johnson and Jack Johnson, and then they have like a floating guy of whether it's going to be Gerard or Byram, whoever's playing
Hmm.
up. And their depth is pretty good. They got Sam Malinsky, who's a rookie. He's played a couple of games for the Avs this year. He's 25. He was the one of the most sought free agents out of college last year. He's putting up numbers. He looked great. He looks like he can stay in the show. They got Caleb Jones, and they got McDermott. They don't want to play that guy, so they got eight options right there. And they got Brad Hunt playing in the AHL, and he played games for them last playoffs. Not great, but in a pinch, you could do it. So there's been talk, and so maybe they might, if the right trade happens, might trade Will Byram or Sam Gerard to be able to fill that need because they can fill the defense internally. So we'll see what they do. I think they need to do something, and I think they need to get a fourth line center who can win a fucking face-off. That's a big thing that they can do probably pretty cheap, like a fifth or sixth round pick, maybe even a fourth, depending on who they get. And then the biggest thing that I want them to get that I cannot believe they still haven't fucking addressed is a goddamn backup goaltender. Francis was injured at the beginning of the year. He's supposed to be gone a month, so they didn't go out and sign somebody. Well, they shut him down for the season again. This is like the second or third time this has happened. I think that dude's career is over. It's sad because you think he's great. I think he's a 1B. He won them 2 playoff rounds the year they won the cup when Kemper was injured. And they never addressed that problem. They picked up on waivers at the beginning of the season off of the Coyotes, Prosvetov, and that guy's fucking horrendous. I think he's one of the worst goalies the Avalanche have had in recent memory. And he is so bad that the team doesn't want to play him. They called up their young goalie waiting in the wings, Justus Annunen, sorry, to play games on a back and back. So they played Georgi and they had Prosvetov as the backup. And then they played a backup game. They called up Annunen and they made Prosvetov his backup and gave Alexander Georgiev a night off. So, and then they sent Annunen back to the Eagles in the AHL. So that kind of shows you how much trust the team has in him. Like, you're good to warm a bench, but we don't want to play you on a fucking back-to-back. Georgiev has the most wins in the whole league right now. Part of that is because of the scoring, that the Avs are just outscoring all their problems. But like, that dude has started 41 games for the Avalanche this season.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe he's not playing well because he's fucking playing so many games.
Yeah.
So they need to get that dude some rest because come the playoffs, if they keep riding him like this, like he's gonna be dead by the time the playoffs begin. So I think they need to do something about that. I think there's some good options out there, right? If they want to go out and pay a lot of money, they can get somebody good. They can go get somebody that's decently held down that job. Capo Kakinen's all right. I heard Marc-Andre Fleury was maybe something. We'll see if he's back from injury. Like somebody that can start a couple of games for them and actually play a good backup role. But I guess we'll see. But those are the things I think the Avs need to address.